Good day, everyone. Today, I will be discussing the early periods in American literature, which is an important topic in our subject, the Survey of English and American Literature. This topic is significant because it allows us to understand how American literature began and how it reflects the historical, the cultural, and even the social development of early American society. Literature during this time was not just for entertainment, rather, it was a reflection of people's beliefs, struggles, and identity. And but and before that, I will discuss you first the historical background of this period to better understand. And early American literature developed from the early colonial period up to the revolutionary period. During this time, America was still being explored, colonized, and later fighting for independence. Sorry, guys. And there are three major influences that shape literature in this period. The first one is the Native American traditions. Before the arrival of the Europeans, Native Americans already had the rich cultural traditions expressed through oral storytelling. And these stories were used to explain nature, to teach moral lessons, and preserve their history, of course. The second one is the impact of colonization and religion. When European settlers arrived now, especially the Puritans, excuse me, they brought with them the strong religious beliefs, and these beliefs greatly influence the themes of and purpose of literature. And lastly, the third one is the growth of patriotism and national identity. As the colonists began to resist British rule, literature became a tool to express ideas about freedom, independence, and after that, unity. And now we will now delve into the major periods of early American literature. These three are early American and colonial period. The second one is the American colonial period, uh, American colonial and Puritan period, and the last one is the Revolutionary period literature. We will first discuss the early American colonial period. This period includes the Native American oral literature, such as myths and legends, and also this one, the early written accounts like getting captured by Opencano by John Smith, and this period focuses Native American literature was mainly oral, meaning it was passed down by word of mouth rather than written text. And these stories often explain the creation of the world, the natural events, and even the cultural traditions. Sorry, guys. And these stories was not just for entertainment. Rather, they were essential in preserving the identity and teaching values within the community. And on the other hand, the early colonial writings such as katong kay John Smith, it focused on the exploration, survival in a new land, and the encounters with Native Americans. No, and these writings often showed the challenges faced by settlers and their perspectives on the new environment. And that is the the early period, or the early American colonial period literature. The second one is the American colonial period and Puritan literature. This period was heavily influenced by Puritanism. It means it is a strict religious belief system, and the Puritans believed that life should be centered on God, humans are naturally sinful, and God has absolute power and authority. Money ang ginabilib sa mga Puritans. And the examples of literature from this period includes no kaning the religious essays and sermons, kaning the sinners in the hands of an angry God by Jonathan Edwards, and literature during this time had a clear purpose. The first one is to teach moral lessons. The second one is to encourage religious devotion. The third one is to warn people about sin and judgment. For example, katong kay Jonathan Edwards, kay Jonathan Edwards sermon niya, he emphasizes the fear of God's punishment and the importance of repentance. Unlike modern literature, no, these works were not focused on purely sa in kanang sa creativity or entertainment. Instead, it focuses they were meant to guide behavior and strengthen the faith. And during this time, literature became a tool to kanigong religious instruction. And that is the second period of early American literature. The third one is the Revolutionary Period literature. This period reflects now a major shift in focus. Why? Because from religion, it shifted to politics and national identity. The example includes autobiographies and biographies, patriotic speeches, The Whistle by Benjamin Franklin, the Gettysburg Address by Abraham Lincoln. This, by the way, these examples will be discussed by my co-member or my co-discussants for further explanation and for you to know and to have knowledge about this certain topic within our period. And going back, during this time, no, literature was used to inspire people to fight for independence, to promote democratic ideals, to encourage unity among the colonies. No, mo to siya ang iyang focus sa literature during that time. And writers like Benjamin Franklin used simple and talagang practical writing to share wisdom and values. Meanwhile, katong speeches like katong kay Gettysburg Address emphasize quality, freedom, and national unity. And kaning revolutionary period, it shows how literature became a powerful political tool. And I guess that those are the three periods during the early periods of American literature. And now, we will now delve into the key themes across these periods na katong akong discuss. Of course, the first one is the survival and cultural identity. We all know that early literature reflects no katong the struggle of both Native Americans and colonies in order to survive and maintain their identity. Second one is kaning the religious faith and moral responsibility katong especially during the katong sa Puritan period, which literature emphasized the importance of faith and living a moral life. And the third one is kaning freedom and patriotism. Katong sa in the katong sa revolutionary period, the literature was focused on the independence and the desire for self-governance. And lastly, kaning for nation building, literature help shape the idea of America as a unified and kaning independent nation. And these four are the key themes that you will know we will know across the early American periods or in our topic. And now to conclude my discussion or the overview of our topic, because the examples that I have given to you or the pieces or the documents will be discussed by my co-discussants for further elaboration and for further explanation, for to to just like what I've said earlier, to for you to have the knowledge about those certain topics that that will kind of that will go or that will run in this period. And now, to conclude my part, the early periods of the early periods of American literature, no, shows a clear transformation to to both society and literary focus. 'Di ba? It began with kanang tutong Native American oral traditions which preserve the culture and identity. Then after that, it shifted to religious and Puritan influences, and where literature was used to teach moral and spiritual lessons. And katong, finally, it evolved to revolutionary period na they promoted freedom, the democracy, and also for the national unity. And overall, no, kato, siya tanan, early American literature really reflects to the journey of a nation from its origins through its struggles to its emergence as an independent country. And I guess that ends my part, and I hope you've learned something about how literature reflects the history and society. Thank you so much.